That is an incredibly intense amount of responsibility, Dr. Weill. You literally held people's fate in your hands. What was the emotional aspect of that part of the job like?
I tell you, it was an emotional roller coaster. I mean, real ups and downs. I would leave that committee room and have to tell people that they were either on the list or not on the list, and that was gut-wrenching and obviously life-changing for those folks. So the whole experience of selecting candidates for the waiting list is up and down, but the entire field is. You can save a patient in the morning and lose one in the afternoon, and it's very difficult emotionally, and I think we as physicians and team members deal with it in different ways. And when I told patients they would not qualify for the wait list, I knew that we were essentially giving them a death sentence. And so my coping mechanism, for better or for worse, was intense exercise. I was an exercise fiend, cycling through the Santa Cruz Mountains west of Stanford, and that was the way I knew to cope. And sometimes I did it well, and sometimes I didn't. And ultimately, even the exercise didn't work, and I really had quite a bit of compassion fatigue and empathy depletion, kind of like we're seeing in our workforce right now with COVID.
Yep. Dr. Weill, what you're explaining are what we call those emotional substitutes, right? That sometimes it's our numbing medicine. It's the thing we do outside of the job just to cope, whether it's over-exercise. Some of us use food, right? We've all got some very negative and sometimes some very positive, like you found, vehicles to make that happen. Let me ask you, right? With that much responsibility on the line every single day, you're on the list, you're not. We're losing folks, and sometimes we're saving them. Did you yourself ever seek therapy?
I did. I first went into therapy in 2013, and I went reluctantly, to be perfectly honest. There was a stigma associated with it, and I asked myself, wow, something must be really wrong with me if I'm going to seek therapy. But I came to view it, the more I got into it, as equivalent to going to the gym for my body. I don't want to diminish the mental health professionals out there, but I viewed it as the gym for my emotional health. And I continue to reap benefits from it, I think. And I think in medicine, we really need to get over it. We need to destigmatize it and make it a standard part of what we do.
Yeah. And it's really about carving out the piece that you control, right? That you can control, and feeling good about the effort you made towards that day. It's, so it's what, regardless of your feelings, what each and every one of us got to do. But Dr. Weill, I imagine you had to do that more so than any other kind of field in medicine. And speaking of that, let me ask you, right? As a doctor, Dr. O, myself, we've all got that one shining moment, that one case that kind of defines our career. Dr. Weill, I'm very curious, what was that for you?
Well, for me, it was putting patients on the waiting list who didn't check all the boxes, doing unconventional transplants. And one that I have in mind in particular was a 36-year-old former football player who developed a rare form of cancer, not smoking related. He did everything right, and he got this rare form of cancer that did not metastasize outside of the chest. So I thought that we could do a transplant safely on him, and again, did a lot of cajoling of my colleagues, and we decided to go for it and transplant this young man who had 2 daughters at home and had a full-time job and didn't want to die. And so we ultimately transplanted him, and that's incredibly gratifying to get somebody through an operation like that when he really didn't check all the boxes of a conventional transplant.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Because cancer, correct me if I'm wrong, but that disqualifies you in terms of a transplant if you currently have cancer?
In nearly all of the cases, in this particular type of lung cancer, it stays confined to the chest and is not smoking related. So we decided to go for it.